It's time for Tastemaker Talk, the podcast for food creators who want to level up their business and make an impact in the creator economy. I'm Abby Rodriguez.
And I'm Chandace Probst. We are your hosts and fellow food content creators here to dive deep into the trends, tools, and topics shaping the industry around us. There's so much to uncover, so let's talk about it. Tastemaker Talk. All right, welcome everyone back to Tastemaker Talk. We are so excited for our guest today. I actually told her that I requested that I get to do this with her because I love her account. It's beautiful. It's inspiring, especially for those of us who are gluten-free and dairy-free. So combining her passions for food and helping others, Lauren Less has created a space people can visit for allergy-friendly recipes, chronic illness support, non-toxic lifestyle suggestions, and health and wellness tips. After navigating her own health challenges, she built a business that helps others feel supported, nourished, and empowered. So welcome. We are so glad that you're here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, of course. Well, we want to just dive right in and hear a lot about your journey to multi-income success. You have a successful Instagram page, you have a successful business. So tell us a little bit more about how you transitioned from content creator to business owner.
Yeah. Well, it kind of was like an accident, I always say. My page started when I was diagnosed with multiple food allergies in my 20s and then chronic health issues. And I just kind of organically started sharing my recipes and what I was going through at the time. I was like very kind of in the trenches with my health issues, didn't know what was going on. And I just kind of was sharing my journey. And then I started having like brands reach out to me and say, could you take photos for us? This was back before Reels. Could you take photos of your recipes for us? And then I realized like that it was something that I could actually make an income off of, which was really cool. So that's kind of how I transitioned from creator to realizing that I actually could have a business from making content.
I love that. So did it start with that UGC content?
I never really did that much UGC actually.
Okay.
It kind of just started with photos on my page. And I think that's also too because of my community. Like it's very niche. And I think that is also something that has really helped me and has helped me build a community is like the brands that want to work with me are usually allergy friendly, healthier ingredients. So they want me to share it with my community, not necessarily make content for their page.
I love that. Well, I think that goes to show how important a dialed in community is and how,
For sure.
Priceless it is to have a community that's engaged and that genuinely trusts you, because then if you share their products, they're going to trust those products. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really, really important. And just like maintaining authenticity and integrity with everything. I would never share anything that I don't support.
I love that. So was there ever an aha moment for you in diversifying your income streams? But let's first talk about your income streams, if you don't mind, transparently. What are some of those income streams and what was an aha moment when you realized, oh, I can have more than one?
Yeah. So I started off doing brand deals. And then so I didn't understand the food blogs before that. I was like, why does everyone have a blog? Like, what is this for? Why are people sending people off of Instagram to look at their blog? Like, why don't people just put the recipe in the caption? And so then I realized that, okay, like this is the way to, give your community recipes for free and then make money off of ads. And so that was kind of my first aha moment was like, oh yeah, okay, this is great. I could actually have a blog. And then also like, it's good to have something that you own. So I think it was actually that day, when was it? It might've been 2021. Remember the day that Instagram like went down and everyone was saying like, have an email list, have a blog. And I was like, oh, okay, now I understand why these things are important because I was building on Instagram. And then, I had that moment where I was like, okay, I don't own this. So, you want an email list so you can talk to your community and you want a blog so that you own something. So then I started learning about how to build out other income sources like an email list. And I actually I've been on Substack for a while before it kind of blew up. And then blog, affiliate income, and those are kind of the main sources of revenue for me.
I love that. So what would be something that you would tell social first creators about, what would be your advice to them about getting their own blog, not just
Mhm.
Substack, not just email, but an actual blog?
Yeah. Um, I think for food creators,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely a good investment and a good place to be able to just own your work, and just even if you can only do, one post a week or something like that, just to start putting your content on there so that you have something that is yours, because I mean, Instagram seems pretty stable, but we just don't know like what could happen in the future, right? So you
Yeah.
want to have something that you can own, that will be yours, even if the platforms change or whatever platform is popular might change.
Yeah.
And also just like diversifying on your platforms, like having an Instagram and also having a TikTok and also Pinterest and Facebook and YouTube. And it's hard to do all of them at once, but I kind of like to try to pick two and say like, okay, these are my two main ones for now. And then you just kind of do what you can with the other ones.
I think that's great. That's great. And it's good that sometimes they change because, as you know, at
Yeah.
certain times, Facebook had had kind of like this down, and now Facebook is having a revival, right?
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm hearing.
Pinterest is kind of, ugh, and it's had its moment. And they
Right.
always come back too. But the
Yes.
one thing that I've seen that, again, is the stable thing that you can count on is your email list.
Right.
Without fail, I look at my
Mm-hmm.
traffic in analytics, and when I send out an email to my list, it's like really high,
Mm-hmm.
right up, because those are the people, those are the ride or dies, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's really, yeah, that's important to have,
I love it.
especially for food creators, but even other creators. An email list is good too.
Yeah, and have you noticed for the brands that you work with, the more of those platforms that you can offer visibility on, like
Hmm.
saying, I can post this to, it can be a part of a recipe that I'm going to do on the blog, plus an Instagram reel, plus a TikTok,
Yes.
all of these things, it really probably makes it easier to get those brand deals. Yes?
Yeah, for sure. I think the more you can offer, the better. And then you kind of just have more leverage to provide them with more options.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. So tell me a little bit more about why brand partnerships became a serious focus for you and the place where you really put your energy towards.
Yeah, I think like I just really have found so many brands that are doing amazing things and using great ingredients. And that has been just so important for me on my health journey with my food allergies and then also chronic health issues. I've really had to like dial in my diet beyond like gluten-free, dairy-free. And so I just have this like appreciation for the brands that are really like gluten-free or really care about their ingredients, the quality. And so I was sharing those naturally too as I found them. And then I was like, oh, I can work with these brands that I love. And that's so cool.
Yeah.
So I really like doing it. And that's kind of why it became such a big focus for me, because it's fun and I'm promoting brands that I already use and I get to make a recipe with them. And I'm like, this is so cool.
It's a dream job, literally.
It literally, yes, yes, it's a dream job. And um yeah, it's been really fun, and for me it's been consistent. So I think people say like, don't rely on brand deals, and I do understand that, but when it's been consistent, I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yep. And we both just got back from Expo West, and meeting
Yes.
the brands in person is unlike anything
It's
else.
amazing.
Isn't it
Yeah.
incredible? I think a lot of creators don't understand that at a certain level of being a creator, you can apply to be media at places like that where
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
go. So tell us a little bit more about
Hmm.
how our creators listening can position themselves to work with brands by first getting there and meeting them in person and trying the products before they hit the shelves, but then
Yeah.
also anything else that you recommend.
Yeah, I did get a lot of messages from creators who are even larger than my account, and they're like, "How did you go to this?" And I'm like, "Just apply for a media pass. Like, you can go to these really cool events and opportunities and connect with the brands." And also, I was also trying to just cover the event for my community and
Yeah.
show them all the new snacks and brands. And then I think that the brands see that and they're like, oh, her community loves this. They're really engaged with this. They want to know what's new. And that actually turned into a lot of brands in my inbox the next following week. So it wasn't even necessarily that I made connections at Expo, because I feel like a lot of the brands I had already connected with. But just new brands also see that you're caring about your community, you're looking for brands that are allergy friendly, and you're, connected with your community. But it was really cool to meet the brands in person and the people that I've been talking to for, months and working on campaigns with, and just be able to like put a face to a name. So that was really cool. And I definitely recommend, anyone who's trying to work with brands to go to events like this and actually just, get yourself in front of some of these brands.
I love it. Yeah. And so for a lot of food creators, they think on their platforms like Instagram and TikTok, they really can only focus on putting out the recipes that they're sharing. You have created a very diverse page that you had 4 posts dedicated to showing the new things that are coming out for those in your community. At a recent food conference, we do that. We have wonderful sponsors at Tastemaker Conference where people connect as well. And then you have those recipes put in there too. You have some day in the life. You have all of these things. So would you have any advice to the creators listening who feel maybe pigeonholed into a certain way of putting themselves out there on social media?
Yeah, I think there's like very mixed advice about this and growth and things like that. And I think for a little bit, I pigeonholed myself into gluten-free, dairy-free recipe videos. And I think if you're trying to put out a new recipe every day, you get burnt out very quickly. So I think like a lot of the social media, guru experts say like, have 4 pillars. And I kind of try to do something like that. Like recipes can be one of your pillars, or you can, have a couple of different types of recipes that are your pillars. But if you can, diversify a little bit, I think it's helpful so that you don't burn out, and also to share other things. And you never know what your community is interested in. Like a lot of people come to my page also because they have chronic illness or chronic conditions. So that's definitely like one of my pillars that I talk about. So I think, there's a lot of ways to share more, and make it a little easier on yourself too, and share things that you really like to share.
I love that. And don't you think in the world of AI, I don't know about you, but the accounts I follow are the ones that do have that, where I can see their day-to-day life, but I can see their recipe. If I go to an account and all it is recipes, I'm like, meh, I'm good. Because I'm like, I'll just go to their blog or somewhere else. But if I can see like a day in the life, and I can see this and I can see that, I'm more inclined to follow. Are you seeing that as well?
I think so. I think people want to know who you are and why you're making these recipes. Somebody can have a whole page of gluten-free recipes, but why are they gluten-free? Like, I want to know why they're gluten-free. And I think people are curious. So I think, it's hard. Like when I first started posting the photos, like I didn't think I would end up sharing my whole life online, but you kind of have to show a little bit of who you are, so that people can connect with you.
And don't you think that also lends to getting more brand deals? Because
yes,
let's talk about that a little bit, about pitching strategies and long-term partnerships versus one-off, kind of pricing, all of that. Let's bundle that up together, but also talk about what that means with authenticity and your page that shows who you are. No longer are the days when they just want hands and pans, right? I mean, maybe a little, but not much.
Yes. So, I mean, how people can position themselves for brand partnerships. I think just like sharing your life authentically, why you're making these recipes. Your page acts as your portfolio. I think that's really important. And people like storytelling. They want to know why you're making this recipe. They want to know more about your life. I think the brands like that too. They want to know about your story. They want to know why you're gluten-free. They want to know why you are eating allergy friendly, or what chronic conditions you might have that are making you eat this way or choose to eat this way. I also tag brands a lot that I genuinely love and use. And I feel like those are the best partnerships, because I'm like looking back and I'm like, I've tagged you in stories 100 times and now we're working together. And like, I genuinely use your product every day. So I think that brands can tell when you're sharing authentically, and they like that.
Yeah. I love what you said that your page acts as your portfolio.
Yes.
And don't forget to storytell. I think that it's so easy to get into the routine of just, okay, I'm going to share a recipe today. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going
Hmm.
to do this. And a lot of creators
Yeah.
we're going to get into this a little bit, but early signs of burnout in the creator space.
Oh yeah.
And it's coming from having to think, or this mentality that I have to do this, this, and this every time I
Hmm.
post.
Yeah.
And we just had another guest on, the chef out west, and he's gone viral many times, over 1 million followers. And he said,
Hmm.
for 3 months, I told myself I'd post every single day for 3 months. That's a lot of work. But he's like, I
That's
did
a
not
lot.
post a new recipe every day. I posted a
Mm.
hack, or I posted a tip, or I posted a travel, whatever,
Yeah.
because there's just no way to do that. So I love that you
It's too
said,
much.
yes, your page acts as your portfolio. So do you want to show that you can do many different things, or just one thing? Um, so with that, I think that kind of lends into the long-term partnership. If you're tagging brands that you love to work with, it's going to be a longer term partnership. But do you have any like suggestions on knowing how to price your work and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot goes into pricing, and there's a lot obviously that goes into a brand partnership, and you have to think about all that, like all the time you're spending, emailing on the concept, reading the contract, grocery shopping, paying for ingredients that you need, going back and forth on, editing and copywriting. Like there's just so many things that go into a brand partnership that it takes a lot of time. And I feel like what I usually tell people is kind of think about how many hours it's going to take you and what you think of, what you'd like to make per hour, and kind of go from there. And then obviously there's usage rights and things like that that go into it. And it totally depends. But yeah, I think kind of just starting there. That's like a good starting point.
That's great.
And talk
And
to other creators. I think a lot of people don't do that, and that's how I learned what to charge, really, is when I first started. I had no idea, so I messaged some other creators that had more followers than me, or like have done more partnerships, and a lot of people are really open.
absolutely. So how have you seen collaboration like that lead to growth and opportunities?
Yeah, I think um, it leads to growth for us all, because if somebody's charging way under like what the standard rates look like, they might not know. And then that's happened a lot. People have messaged me and said like, what do you think about this? And then they're undercharging by like a lot. And so I'm very open with that with other creators, because I think it's it helps us all. And I understand why some people might not want to talk about it, because like, yes, you can miss out on one campaign because the brand's, if the brand's paying people more, then you might miss out. But overall, it helps us all, is what I'm trying to say.
Rising tides lift all boats.
Yes,
It's great.
exactly.
So, what about advice for creators who may feel isolated in this community or competitive? Because you kind of touched on that just a little. Well, maybe they don't want to share. Maybe it's because of competition. So,
Mhm.
what is your advice for those creators who either feel isolated or competitive, one or the other, kind of two
Yeah.
ends of the spectrum?
Yeah. I think if you feel isolated, trying to find community, reaching out to other creators, I found that a lot of creators are like, they want to talk. A lot of us feel isolated. We don't have like, a lot of us are just kind of in our homes all day by ourselves doing this. And we don't really have coworkers. So that is really helpful, having like some creators you can bounce ideas off of. And honestly, I have like a group chat with 2 other creators, and 3 has kind of been a really good number. We're always chatting in it every day. We're talking about everything, and we're like each other's coworkers. And that has been really, really helpful for me, like more helpful than anything, I feel like. So if you're feeling isolated, reach out, because I think a lot of other creators feel that way, and you'll be able to find your like creator coworkers. And then I think it's also
That's
sorry, go
exactly
ahead.
why we created Tastemaker Conference. And it's
Yeah.
been so fun to see these creators who've met each other in real life, because it
Mm-hmm.
can be a very isolating job. And then to
Yeah.
hear the next year, they're going to be my bridesmaid at my wedding. And it's like, wow, that's so exciting. But it's
I
because
love that.
it does feel isolating, to
Mm-hmm.
be in your home all day. And so if you don't have those relationships it can be hard, and it can also lead to burnout. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, and it's also been nice for me to meet with other creators in person too, and just like have a coffee date or whatever it is, and talk about things. And then feeling competitive, I think it can be hard when you open your feed and you're like, oh, I don't have anything to post today. And you see like a million recipes from all these girls who are like making beautiful things. And you're like, oh, they're all like way ahead of me. They're all posting this holiday content and I haven't even done that yet. But like, it's literally, I try to remind myself, like, it's one post. Like maybe they just filmed one Easter recipe. And like, that's what I'm seeing now is the 100 Easter recipes. And it's okay. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way. And I've kind of tried to just change that mindset and focus on quality over quantity, and just like, you know, do whatever I can do. And it's okay to repost things. And I think that creators forget that a lot. Like if you need to repost something, that's okay. Or if you want to repurpose content in a different way, like kind of a roundup or something like that, however you can post something that makes it a little bit lower lift for you is also great to repurpose. And your community might not have seen the recipe the first time. So
yeah, I love that. No, I think that's wonderful advice. My favorite thing is always to remind people of the abundance mentality over the scarcity mentality. When you have abundance mentality, it comes to you, you're happy for those around you, and that comes back. And the scarcity mentality keeps you here where you're not creative and it's just a state of just frustration. So I love that suggestion that you said, maximize the content you have, repurpose it in different ways. I've seen some really creative people who are doing that. And I'm like, wow, they use that same piece of content in 4 different posts. you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Yeah. So, you know, we kind of talked about early signs of burnout in the creator space, but what do you notice? When do you notice them and how do you pump the brakes or realign when you're starting to feel like you're losing momentum? I know a lot of our creators struggle with that and would love to hear that.
Yeah, I think it's easy to burn out because it's like the job never really ends. There's not like a stopping point. I don't know if I wrote this, but I was a therapist too. I mean, I'm still a therapist. I still have my license, but when you go to, you know, your typical therapy job, you have a session, you write your notes, and then you're done and you close your computer. But with this, you can always be doing more. You can always be filming more recipes. You can always make more blog posts. You can always do more research. You can always, there's not always a stopping point unless you make one for yourself. And I think that's really important, is being realistic with how much you can do in a week. And you want to feel good about what you're putting out. You don't want to feel like you have to post every single day, but then you're like, I don't know if this is good. Like I want to be like, this is a great recipe and I feel confident about this. I think when you feel good about what you're putting out, it just helps too with burnout. And if you're feeling burnt out, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to not post for a week. Like nothing's going to happen to your account. I think people get scared of doing that. I've taken a break for a week and it's been fine, or longer. And it's okay to, like I said, to repost content. I think that helps when you're feeling burnt out. Do more carousels. Those are like really popping off right now and they're easier to do. You know, take a roundup. Yeah. Take a roundup of your blog photos and put them on a carousel. If you're feeling like you're dreading making content, that's a sign that you are probably burning out. And I think something too that I realized I was doing is I was feeling like I had the need to set up the camera every single time I was cooking. And then it was like taking the joy out of it a little bit for me. So I've been really intentional about like, I don't need to set up the camera every time I'm cooking something. What else? Yeah. I mean, you want to listen to your body, not feel overcommitted, lean back into like why you started your page, why it's fun. Thinking about what you want to create. I think too, a lot of people are looking at keywords and then feeling like they have to, you know, rank for this keyword instead of making a recipe that they really want to make. And I think just leaning more into what you want to make, what you're craving. And I've been trying to do that too, is like go to the grocery store and not necessarily have a plan, or I'm excited to go to the farmers markets and just be like, what's in season? What can I make? What am I craving? Instead of like, oh, I have to make X, Y, and Z recipes. So I think just like having fun with it is really important.
Well, and that does come through because the accounts that I enjoy following the most are those that are doing what they love, truly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
Yeah.
posting consistently every single day at this time and this exact type of post. They're sharing an abundance of things, and it ebbs and flows with the seasons and with their illness and
Yeah.
resurgence of like, oh, I'm having a Hashimoto's flare up. So let's talk about what I'm doing
Yeah.
to take care of my body. I love
Yep.
that you shared the other day you use a carousel because those are going crazy. They're popping off in
Mm-hmm.
Google. They're showing up. Like my friend did a carousel post for Easter recipes, and it was showing up on the first page of Google from a
Wow.
carousel of Easter
That's
recipes.
awesome.
And you posted the other day about things that you do uh, to help your, I think it was inflammation or your chronic illness. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
series of things that you did.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was great and it was really helpful. And do you know what? Before I even remembered we were doing this podcast, I saved it because I have autoimmune diseases. And I thought, oh, those are good reminders for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that's great. With that though, there's so many things we can't be doing. And I love that you said there's not a hard stop with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but there are times when I lay in bed and I'm like, 10,000 ideas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're
Yep.
thinking, and like you keep a journal next to your bed and write it down
Yep.
and you have to get it out.
Yeah.
But having a hard stop, boy, we don't even need to do traditional meditation in this job because the meditation is just to make yourself not think of work, right?
Yeah. To just put your phone away.
Yes.
That's the meditation, is to stay off the screens.
Just stay
Yeah.
off the screen. So how do you strategically say yes and no to certain things?
Yeah. I think it's really important to protect your time and energy. I think you want to make sure you're doing things that are exciting for you. It's okay to say no to things. I think a lot of people don't realize that we're like running entire businesses on our own,
Yeah.
and we have a lot to do in a day.
Mhm.
Like and in Chicago too, there's a lot of events that I might be invited to, and I love going to them, but I make sure that it's something I actually want to do, and something that's fun for me and that makes sense, because like also I think of the cost. Like if I'm taking a $30 Uber there and a $30 Uber back, like is it worth my money and my time to go to this event? So I think there's a lot of things to weigh. I think, delegation can be important too at a certain point in your business. I think there's a lot of people who want to pick your brain, and you can say no to that. A lot of the times, if brands reach out to me and they want a meeting right away, I will gently push back. And, I like to have a signed contract before I meet with them, because sometimes they just want to talk about an affiliate program. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I do like to connect with brands,
Right.
and I do like to hear their story. So I think it just kind of depends on the timing and things like that. And if I'm the one pitching myself to the brand and they want a meeting, I'll usually take it, because I see that as like, I'm pitching myself to you. You want to hear more about me. Can we turn this into a partnership?
Sure.
But so it kind of depends on the situation. I think there's a lot of things to weigh, and where you're at with your business too.
Have you ever heard that quote that this could have been an email?
Yes.
Right. And so
Yes.
I think it's important to know that much of the
yes.
communication can happen through Instagram.
For sure.
Like
Yes.
you could say to yourself a ton of time by just having most of the conversation there or via email, that
Mhm.
that time for a meeting should be reserved for your most
Right.
robust clients, or those who are
Exactly.
going to lead to something much bigger.
Mhm. Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to ask you about that. One last thing, and then I'm going to have some fun rapid fires for you. What is your very favorite pitch to send an example to a brand? Let's say there's a brand that you've tagged 40 times. You love them, you're obsessed with them. What is the direct message you're going to send?
Yeah, I usually just, if I don't have their email contact, I'll just message them and say like, hey, I would love to work together. Do you have, someone I can reach out to, a marketing contact? And then I'll email them my pitch.
Okay. And with that pitch, would you be willing to share with some of our community members a bit more about what makes a pitch that almost everyone says yes to?
Yeah. Honestly, I like to keep it like short and sweet, because I don't think they want to read like a very long email. So I just introduce myself, one-liner, like what is really important about my page, that I do allergy-friendly recipes, non-toxic swaps, health and wellness. I kind of tailor that to the brand too, whether, if it's a food brand or a non-toxic swap. I talk about why I love their products or a specific product that I use every day. And then, I kind of say like, I would love to work together on blank. And I don't like have a really fleshed out, like complicated concept. I just say like, I would love to work together on some, spring recipes or whatever it is. And then I make sure I have, my socials are linked at the bottom. And that's pretty much it. I think you want your page to speak for itself too. It does come back to that portfolio.
Yes. Your page is your portfolio.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, just keeping it short and sweet has been what's worked for me. I think you want them to know that you really like their brand and actually genuinely use it. So I don't send like mass pitches that are the same. They're all tailored and they're short, but it comes through that I actually use this product for this, or I have a peanut allergy, so I really like this product. Thank you for making it, so they can tell that it's genuine. And I think that's important.
That's fantastic. So, and then last one, how do you manage like PR packages or wonderful gifted things like that? Do you share those just with stories, or how do you manage those when people want to provide those to you?
It depends on like what my capacity is. Honestly, I don't get to sharing all of them, but I try to share what I can. And I also talk about like non-toxic or cleaner swaps or brands that I love in my email list. So sometimes like brands will get a shout out that way. If they send out a PR package with like a new product, it will be in my Sunday roundup of like, this is a new granola that was released this week or something like that. So it's not always a story. It might be in my email roundup. But yeah, I try to do what I can, because at some point it gets to be a lot, and you can't possibly share a story for every single brand. And if they're not paying you, you shouldn't, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's fantastic. I love that you coming back full circle to the beginning of the conversation of utilizing those other platforms like in a way that feels authentic. Maybe it's not a story that you're sharing this, but you're sharing it in a non-toxic swap email that you're sending out that week. So I think that's great. So is there anything else that you want to share with our community before I ask you some rapid fire questions, just more to get to know you?
I think just looking at what your community wants and asking them questions and putting up question boxes about, what they want to see, what they like, and thinking about the questions you're getting in your DMs too, because that is at the core of everything. And that's how your business and your community is going to grow, by you providing them with content that they want to see that really genuinely helps them, whether it's with their allergies or chronic illness or even just feeling less alone. Like that's how you grow a community.
I love that. And with that collective research, if you will, have you tailored a certain way to do your stories, or do you just kind of show up in stories? You don't really think about that as strategically?
I feel like stories have changed so much, but I think people really like it when I share just like what I'm going through health-wise, because it's relatable. And sometimes I find hacks that help me, and, they can take those to their doctor. I always say, take it to your doctor and see what they say. Make sure you can do this. But I just kind of share authentically like what I'm going through and what I'm doing. And I think people like that. And it's always like the silly, stupid things that do well too, of me like eating a burger in a car without a bun. And people are like, this is so relatable because we're gluten-free too. So I think people just like, it's those moments that are just relatable.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all that you've shared. Yes. And I have a couple rapid fire questions for you. So these are fun just to get to know you on another level. What's one hobby you have that's completely unrelated to your business?
I mean, Pilates is like kind of related, but it is a hobby that I have. I feel like I talk a lot about wellness, so it's kind of related. I also like reading.
What's the latest book that you've been obsessed with?
I think it's called like The Ledge or something. Okay. I'm reading the second book in the series. That's what I'm reading right now.
I love it. It's good to have something to take our mind off of work, and a book is
I
a great way
agree.
to do that.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I love it. If you could snap your fingers and have any skill, what skill would you choose?
I used to do gymnastics and I wish that I could still do all of those things. So that's what came to my mind first. I'm like, I wish I could still do all of that.
I love that. Well, that's close to Pilates, right?
Yes.
In an adult form.
Yeah,
I
an
love
adult form of Pilates. Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
All right, last one. What is your all-time favorite gluten-free, dairy-free treat or eat?
I really like these cookies that I make that are like kind of like Loft House or like crumble cookie dupes with frosting. Anything with frosting.
Frosting is the way to go. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to encourage our audience to connect with you. So where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Substack at Less with Lore. And then my blog is lesswithlore.com.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
Yeah.
thank you for all of you for tuning in. We're excited to see you on the next episode of Tastemaker Talk. And be sure to grab your ticket to Tastemaker Conference if you haven't yet. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary in San Antonio, Texas in January. We just opened the hotel block and we just opened our Boot Scoot and Barbecue offsite excursion. And it's going to be a blast. So we hope to see you all there, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Tastemaker Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by leaving a review, giving us a rating, or sharing it with your creator friends.
And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
You can find more from us on our website, tastemakerconference.com, or even join us for an event where we learn and grow as a community of creatives.
The conversation doesn't stop here. Talk soon.